Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Today we're working on the old MGB. I mostly just finally got the mechanical running pretty well. Replaced most of the ignition system, so spark plugs, wires, cap, rotor, all that stuff. And now it's running pretty well. Got the carbs mostly adjusted. There's still some kinks to work out, but it is running pretty well. And basically just occasionally it misfires when it's hot, so I might throw a new coil at it, but we'll see. But now I decided to turn my attention to some aesthetics. So some of you may notice the hood. It's kind of a primer black faded to rust. When the rest of the car, I mean, the paint isn't great, but it is, you know, a cute little orange. I do want the hood to kind of complement the rest of the body instead of be a giant eyesore. So I am almost certainly never going to match that paint. I could probably try to match it, but it'll always look a little wrong. So I'm going to go a little different direction with the hood, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So let's get started. So one thing to do before you remove the hood, it is nice to mark where it was. So, you know, you can use a paint pen, or in my case, I'm going to just scratch it with a pick. That way, when we go to put it back on, we have a good baseline for where to align it. It also helps to have two people when doing this, but I don't necessarily. And I don't have anything to really problem with, but I do have a hook. So now that's going to support that while I undo the prop rod and the hinges. Alright, so before I go too far, we are going to put down some microfibers to not completely wreck the paint. Oh, I didn't get that guy. That was rather important. Alright. Now, when I pull this out, I should be able to just take the hood clear of the and lots of dust. Alright, so hood is off, as you can see. So now we're going to take it outside and hit it with a grinder and some stripper discs to remove the paint. Then I can start doing metal work. Okay, so grinder, eye and hearing protection, paint stripping disc. Let's get it down. Okay, so got all the paint stripped off, or most of the paint stripped off. You saw me kind of hit it with that random orbit sander. Tried to get some of it smoothed down, but it was pretty hard here and here because in both of these spots it's got a big dent and there's a lot of oil canning to it. So got that. So popped up, it's pretty good, but it's not in a stable position. So I am going to try to planish that out and smooth that out. But the other things we got to deal with are there's a whole crap ton of dents all over this hood. So I am going to do a skim coat of Bondo just to take care of the small stuff. But I do want to get out as much as I can in the metal. Biggest one right there. It's lifted up. I've got a depression right here, bunch of other depressions. Wherever you see dark spots, that is usually where, if it wasn't where I just missed with the wheel, that's where it sunk down so that nothing was able to get it. There's one right there. Like that, I see a tiny crease, but it's overall pretty good. So basically, this is basically the same thing I did before with the grill shell. If you haven't seen that video, take a look or not. But basically, I am going to use some hammer and dolly technique. I did just polish those up a little bit so that they're fairly nice. We're going to try to find the shape that matches the contour pretty well. And I'm going to hold that underneath. I'm going to smack it to smush that down. Now this one is probably a little bit proud, so I might actually attempt to heat shrink that. That's something I haven't tried yet, but I've heard about. Basically, what you're doing is all this metal is pushed up and stretched. We're trying to smash it down. That'll do some of it, but when we put heat on it, it will try to expand, but it can't. It liquefies. Then as it cools, it contracts, and then we shrink it. And you can actually fix a warp really big, heavy steel girders just with a torch and a wet cloth. So it's some pretty powerful stuff. But anywho, I'm going to take care of these and try to find some more and just go from there. But in the meantime, yeah, enjoy watching me whack on some metal. Okay, so we got our fire, I've got a rag. Let's try some heat shrinking. That may have done something. Still probably really hot. But yeah, let's get a drier rag and do this to the rest of these guys. Because I wanted to see if that'll lift up these guys. crazy thing is, when it's hot, you can actually see it bow up a little bit. So, something's happening. You can see that how that oil can took effect there. Cool. Yeah, that's really doing the trick. So, I'm going to keep doing this, keep hammering on some stuff, and hopefully next time you see me, I'll be about ready to smear some Bondo on this guy. Alright then, so heat shrinking seemed to be a success. Still not perfect, and if you feel it, it's kind of lumpy, but it is much better than it was before. And the most important thing is I don't have any oil canning, which means I've got a good foundation to put that skim coat of Bondo on, and then sand it back, and then it'll look hopefully fairly half good for paint. So yeah, time to smear some, mix up and smear some Bondo on here. So the car gods were not shining upon me last night. The old Bondo was it's all dried up and gross, so that's no longer good. You can probably revive it, but the internet yelled at me because, well, I looked on the internet to see if you could revive it, and it was basically forum posts of people yelling at other people saying, it's cheap, stop wasting your time, just buy more. Which, yeah, it's cheap, so stop wasting your time and buy more. This was 15 bucks. I found, oddly enough, the cheapest place for Bondo is Harbor Freight. It's about $1 cheaper than Walmart for this size container. Walmart does have a smaller container for a little bit less, but it says it's like 2 ounces less, but it looks like it's half as much. So for an extra $2, this will probably be good. Hopefully I'll use it later. But anywho, just gotta basically mix up our Bondo. We're gonna use a lot because, well, we've got a whole hood to cover. So I got that there. Gonna close that up. And of course it's raining now. I wanted to get this stuff to paint outside, but sadly that's not gonna happen. Heck, I dropped the cap for my hardener. Anywho, I'll find that later. So forget kind of the ratio, but I used a lot, so we're going to use a lot of hardener. The one trick with this is you don't want to overwork it. So I'm going to basically get it just so that it is, you know, thoroughly mixed. We want a nice even consistency, and from everything that body guys have told me, basically you want to scoop it and then lay it smooth like that. Scoop it and then lay it smooth. You want to kind of paddle it in, because if you mix it too aggressively, then you basically froth it and you can cause those air bubbles. So the more we kind of do this, the fewer air bubbles we'll have. Let me get that off of there. I don't know how humidity helps with this. Anyway, that's mixed. So now we're going to take it over the car, over the hood, and Oh, that wasn't even close to enough. I'm going to need to mix way more. I might actually even use this whole container. Anywho, well, that was that. So I guess I'm going to just let that dry and then mix up a whole bunch more and cover the whole thing.